So, okay. Right? Oh. Back to the game. Uh. All right.
You're so thirsty. Even the act of breathing feels painful.
I've been there.
The sun's rays beat down upon you. It's so hot. You open the treasure chest to find a bottle glimmering in the sunlight. You snatch it up, but it's empty. The gold's shoulders drop in unison with yours. You lift your head. There before you, impossibly, walks Ram, your plush animal. No. You shake your head. That isn't real.
Hmm.
As consciousness threatens to forsake you, you catch sight of a young man. You've come at a very good time, he chirps.
Just
Ah, so you seek the compound formed from hydrogen and oxygen, he says excitedly, launching into the beginning of a very long speech.
this guy.
His words flow as quickly as the quicksand that brought you here. Legol musters every last ounce of his strength to try and interrupt the torrent of babble, when suddenly, a monster's cry issues from behind the youth. You see, I was about to be attacked by foul beasts, the youth says, beaming. Yes, you've come at a very good time indeed, he chirps again, which must be his way of asking for your help. You certainly haven't the strength to escape. Looks like you're in for a fight. To battle.
Wow, I forgot I'm so OP.
Calling upon the steel primal helped you fell the monsters. But before you can catch your breath, what on earth was that? The youth says, rushing up behind you from his vantage point for the battle. He peppers you with questions and comments in his breathless style. That was the steel primal, wasn't it? The fact that you can control it means you're one of the fabled Subterrans. You are, aren't you? I had no idea you actually existed. Well, if today isn't my lucky day, if you don't mind my asking, how do you control that beast?
Nerd!
I have deduced that the card you're holding there is the key to controlling them, but beyond that, Ugh. Whew, this guy sure can talk. He pays your pained expression no mind as he carries on, finally realizing that the young man's name is Polka, and he's on a long, winding journey in pursuit of monsters
Hi,
to study.
Polka. I'm gonna call you expendable because that's exactly what you are.
As if you hadn't heard enough, he asks if you'd like to hear an explanation about the primals. You make another desperate plea for water. Polka, however, hasn't even done you the courtesy of waiting for an answer. He's already chattering away about the primals. There are 3 kinds, he tells you at breakneck speed. In addition to the steel primal, there exists a fire primal and a frost primal. And all are powerful enough to cause changes in their natural environment because of reasons. Unfortunately, your fevered brain can parse no more of his blathering. Look, we helped you, so give us some water already, Legol barks, clearly out of patience. Finally, Polka closes his mouth for the first time since you've met. He looks rather contrite, for he, too, has no water on his person. You stare at him, speechless. You know, I'm actually rather thirsty, he says, and collapses into the sand. Clearly, his was a thirst brought on by incessant blabbering rather than fleeing from monsters. You both look at Polka's crumpled form, and then at one another. Mind and body pushed well beyond their limits, the two of you finally surrender to sweet, sweet unconsciousness.
We
You awaken to find yourself
Yes.
lying down inside a tent. Startled, you leap to
Damn.
your feet. Well, you seem much better, a woman says sweetly as she enters.
Push me with your thighs, please.
She says she found the three of you collapsed in the desert and nursed you back to health. You thank her and quickly ask where she's taken Legol. She tells you Legol woke up not long before. He and Polka are at a stall outside. You exit the tent to find several more lined up before you. It looks like you've been picked up by a caravan.
I can just...
You arrive at the stall to find Legol and Polka devouring food as if it were a competition.
No. Please spare me your butt. I just got done
You heave
acting,
a sigh
so
of relief
my
upon
voice
seeing
is
them
tired.
alive and well. Legol notices you as he reaches for a bit of food. He stays his hand and instead beckons you over. Get in on this, he says between bites. You approach the table, casually lift up a plate bearing a mountain of food, and proceed to tilt the entire platter toward your mouth. Having eaten and drank your fill, you offer thanks for the meal. According to Legol and Polka, a stout man treated them to their meal at the stall earlier. You find the man hurrying about busily and thank him for the meal. Ah, you're all awake, he says with a satisfied nod. He introduces himself as the circus's ringmaster and explains that they're on a tour of the desert. As someone fascinated by the circus, you'd always wanted to talk with a ringmaster. It's your lucky day. Before you speak so much as a syllable, the caravan is beset by monsters. You all draw your weapons and prepare for a fight. Polka barges into battle unannounced. I too shall fight, he proclaims.
Expendable. No.
Legol asks if he can fight, to which Polka replies that it comes with the territory when one studies monsters. You're in for a world of hurt if you underestimate science, because science makes medicine, and you shouldn't underestimate that, Polka rambles, drawing his weapon.
Nerd.
You take up arms shoulder to shoulder with Polka and prepare to fight. The ringmaster thanks you profusely. It seems the countless monster attacks are to blame for scattering his troop to the winds. He's at a loss for what to do. You notice, however, that the number of sighs he's peppered his story with feels very intentional. He looks your way rather bashfully. You suspect he wants your help.
Sure.
Of course we'll help you, Polka blurts out before you can answer.
It's the same thing either way.
But the three of you expect fair compensation for the effort, he adds slyly. Polka turns to you and Legol, grinning from ear to ear. Let's get going, he chirps excitedly. Did you misunderstand him? You replay the conversation in your head. Alas, no. It seems you understood perfectly. And just like that, you and Legol have been roped into helping too. Legol objects, only to be drowned out by Polka's contemporaneous rebuttal. A treatise on the value of money and friendship in travel. And so it goes that you, Legol, and Polka end up combing the desert for lost circus troopers.
Expendable and Heelsley. I remember him now. Go.
You all look quite well, the woman says, her wide smile narrowing her eyes. You swear you see Legol briefly shiver in fear
I
for
mean,
some reason.
Look at that muscle mommy. Ah. There's a watermelon.
Something catches the light in the sand. That might be the bangle capable of freeing the Sand Prowler Czar, Polka blurts out. To hear Polka tell it, the Sand Prowler Czar was a monster that once ruled this region through fear, and he's careful to note that some monsters still revere this Czar. Well, legend has it that the Sand Prowler Czar is sealed in the sand ruins, Polka explains. If Polka's telling the truth, then you're holding something pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
You figure it can't hurt to keep something so potentially valuable and slip it into your pack. You sense another long polka lecture coming and start walking. You hear the sound of feet hurriedly whooshing through the sand as he tries to catch. Those were just his feet, right? Yeah, had to be. You happen upon a tent pitched in front of some ruins. Might there be another performer within? You peer inside. Why, yes,
Hey.
the young girl you see before you may well be one of the performers, but she's rather tearful at the moment.
Best girl.
Are you with the circus? Polka asks gently. The girl nods. Yes, beast tamer. Circus. she says through her tears, before begging for your help. Wading through the fragmented words, you gather that a monster swallowed her performing partner and ran off. She goes on to lament that this is all her fault, as sobs rack her body anew. We have to help her, Polka says softly. He declares that he cannot abide turning away from someone who's been separated from someone they care for. You're inclined to agree with him. So long as there are lives to be saved, you'll fight to save them. Are you okay? Ligol asks carefully, sensing that you're in pain. You nod and begin walking toward the ruins.
Oh, oh. Ooh.
Wait a minute, Polka says suddenly. He begins tapping on the wall in several places, listening intently as he does so. There's nothing behind this wall, he says, pointing at one section of it. Not one to wait for permission, Ligol strikes the section of wall with all his might.
Nine-S. Just say
And
9S.
what do you know?
Emo 9S.
Polka was right. That's a scientist for you, Polka boasts, puffing out his chest. Science is awesome, you
Healbot.
reply, jaw slack with wonder.
Speaking of Healbots, I need to change up my skills and I want to go no. And skills. Do I... I know I'm the most stupid thing on this planet, but I need to get Steel Primal. Oh. Give it to you. Oh. Duh. Oh, I feel like a doorknob. Okay. Water, and water. Okay. So. Okay. Boink. Oh. Oh. Where did I go? What? uh. Oh. What is going on? Hey, VTuber today. Ugh. Okay. Way. Way. I was not paying attention.
The door is shut tight. It has a keyhole, which suggests the existence of a key. Polka stops you. Wait a moment. That wall looks suspect. Legol shakes his head. We should just break it down. He hits it with all his might. And with that, the wall crumbles, revealing, to your surprise, a hidden passage. You attempt to open the chest, when suddenly, it looks like they were using this chest as bait. They waste no time in surrounding you and attacking.
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Oh, that's adorable.
To battle.
Burn, baby, burn. Music on the game. Oh. Need a cigarette and I don't smoke. Sex. Oh.
Having defeated the monsters, you find inside a key of seemingly little value. All the same, Polka picks it up and tucks it away, a pleased look on his face. one never knows when a key could come in handy. Let's take it just in case.
Where did my...
The door is shut tight. It does, however, have a
Hmm.
keyhole.
Okay. As well.
You slide the simple key into the keyhole and turn it. There is a satisfying click as the lock opens. With a pleased look on his face, Polka thumbs his glasses back up on his nose. You swear you see something move in the darkness. The three of you carefully step toward, only to find it's a monster.
Boss battle. Decrease fire. Okay. Fire them. I should have equipped something white. That's a bitch. Eee.
Something squirms in the worm's midsection. She did say the monster swallowed her partner, Polka whispers. Not wanting to injure the very much alive entity inside, you carefully begin slicing into the worm's stomach. When a rat pops out. You've ventured into the deepest part of the ruins, but there's no sign of the large monster or the girl's partner. What if the rat is her partner? You tilt your head in confusion, and the rodent scamp with no further leads to go on. You decide to return to the young girl for now and tell her what you found.
Choose get me out now.
You all resolve to leave the sand ruins immediately. You emerge from the ruins in time to see the beast tamer leaping up and down, the rat you freed earlier gathered up in her arms. Thank, partner safe, happy, she squeals through tears of joy rather than sadness. Oh, isn't that lovely? Polka says, smiling. You've got slightly more complicated feelings about it. The girl announces that she's off to rejoin the rest of the main troop and trots off with her companion in tow.
Oh, best girl right there. We'll fight on it. Hmm.
You see a lone tent pitched in the middle of the desert. You approach it and peer inside, but nobody's home. Surely a circus performer must be around here somewhere. A mysterious voice calls from who knows where. You look around once more, but see no signs of life. There it is again, clearer this time. You turn and look behind you. There's a severed head in the sand. Or at least, it looks severed.
Oh, yeah, this guy.
It's alive? The head frantically beseeches you for aid. Apparently, it hid in the sand during a monster attack and could not free it. You all grab hold and pull in an attempt to dislodge the perhaps not disembodied head.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, it was attached to a young man who performs in the circus. He helpfully informs you that there are 2 others who were separated from the troupe during the attacks. He says they too may have hidden or otherwise disguised themselves. You resume your search, eyes primed to pick out anything unusual. There's a strange sound coming from this treasure. You open it to find a very alive young boy from the circus inside. You saved me, he pants. I was about to suffocate in there. The boy makes a beeline for his fellow performer's tent. The man is clearly worried about the other missing circus members. Sorry.
So that's what happened.
This cactus doesn't look unusual at first glance. You reach out and touch it, but it wiggles? Whoa. It's actually a woman from the circus. You saw right through my disguise. I'm impressed, she said. She hurries back to her fellow performer's tent. Having found the remaining 2 performers the young man mentioned, you return to his tent. He thanks you warmly and makes way for the ringmaster's waiting caravan. The caravan is larger than it was when you left. Seems the troop members you rescued found their way back safely. The young man you rescued races over the moment I found my way back. Thank you so much for saving me. He beamed. The ringmaster is next in line, peppering you with praise as he wrenches your entire arm up and down in a forceful handshake. He proudly announces that you can eat and drink your fill as a show of his gratitude. Oh, and he absolutely insists you see the show. He's certain. Finding yourself looking forward to the circus, you decide to invite Legol, and it looks like they took off on their own. Thinking it would be much more fun to go see the circus together, you decide to look for the pair. No more dark places, no more small spaces. The boy sounds like his time in the treasure chest traumatized him. You find Polka holding a cup with some kind of golden liquid in it. A gentle-looking woman seems to be teaching him something. The woman whips the monster and roars with laughter. This little fellow sees this as a reward. Polka nods along. Aha, I see. This is most instructive. You're not completely sure what you're looking at. You decide to drag Polka away and take him to the show. It's okay. It's trained, the gentle-looking woman says of her beast companion. The monster, face vacant, mutters, "Treat." Free of her cactus cosplay, the woman now balances herself
They actually said
adroitly atop a
cosplay.
monster. And as if that weren't impressive enough, they've only gone and synchronized their breathing as well. Our show is incredible, the ringmaster boasts. The young man has once again buried himself in the sand from the neck down. It seems to be keeping him calm. You find Legol stuffing some kind of well-cooked meat into his mouth. Beside him is the beast tamer girl. When she notices you, she begins to thank you enthusiastically in crude language. However, your features harden when you see her looking lovingly at her monster partner. Seeing this, Legol asks, "You need something?" You invite Legol to come to the show and step away. You can hear the sounds of a lively crowd coming from the circus tent. The show must be about to begin. Stepping into the tent is akin to entering another universe. Clowns balance atop balls. Jugglers juggle objects with ease. Performers soar through the air on the trapeze. Your first circus show is infinitely more impressive than all the images you'd conjured in your head. Unfortunately, you also find yourself too vexed to fully enjoy it. You cannot stop thinking about the girl making nice with that monster. The young boy makes a show of stopping his ball directly in front of you and holds something out to you. "Which one of these do you like best?" he asks with a wink.
I'll take money.
You point at the money, but the boy simply keeps smiling at you. He makes no effort to hand it over. The boy points to his own round nose. You stare intently at his nose, but nothing happens.
Oh,
He
wait.
then points to his hand. You look down at your own hands and...
Yeah.
What? The money is already in your hand. The boy smiles wryly at you. You cannot help but gaze at the prize that so wondrously found its way into your possession. The Beast Tamer is the next performer to take the stage. It seems she's going to put on some sort of monster show, as you'd expect, though this time she's joined not just by the rat, but other foul creatures. And just like that, the goodwill engendered by the young boy's gift evaporates, and your heart hardens anew. The Beast Tamer, however, has no idea that you harbor such simmering resentment, and begins her show. Or she tries to, but one of the beasts begins raging out of control. "Help!" the ringmaster shouts in a panic. You instinctively grip your weapon and leap out of your seat to confront the monster. The monster is nearly dead. You prepare to strike the killing blow, only for the Beast Tamer to leap between you and your prey. You unleash your fury upon the girl as she protects the monster. Polka's eyes widen as she easily parries your attack. "Listen, story," she says, hugging you so tightly you can hardly move. The Beast Tamer tells you it was her fault the beast went berserk. She accidentally trod on its tail as she issued her command. It wasn't the monster's fault, she says. Tears well up in her eyes. It was her own inexperience. She begins to sob. The ringmaster peels her off you and gives you his heartfelt thanks for once again. "Allow me to introduce you. This is Trollis," he says. He follows up the introduction with yet another unexpected request. He wants Trollis to accompany you so she can further develop her skills. Apparently, the idea came to him as soon as he saw your masterful command of the beast in battle. Trollis, trembling, turns her gaze to you. You hesitate. "That's a fantastic idea," bellows Polka, agreeing in your stead. Legol turns to Trollis. "We're all talking around you. Is this what you want?" Trollis thinks for a moment. "Yes, train," she chirps, nodding and sensing no way to push back against the overwhelming force of Polka and the ringmaster. You agree to take Trollis. She breathes frantically through her nose. Do best, she says eagerly.
Best girl in the party.
This
yeah.
is shaping up to be a fun journey, Polka says.
Shut up,
visibly
heel
excited.
butt.
Polka has apparently invited himself to join your crew. Legol starts to say something, but Polka is already so deep into a speech that he loses the will. "We must celebrate the start of Trollis's training," the ringmaster shouts. Not a moment later, everything and everyone is in motion. The various performers jostle you about as they rush up to wish you the best and tell you to take good care of Trollis. As the dust settles, the performers settle to sleep wherever there happens to be space. You stealthily pack your belongings. You have to get out of here. This monster-loving circus just rubs you the wrong way. Trollis is sleeping soundly, her partner cradled preciously in her arms. You stop for a moment, realizing Legol has no obligation to accompany you. Maybe you should just let him... "I'm awake," he whispers. You look more closely and see he, too, has packed his things. He must have known how you felt all along. The two of you agree to sneak out of the circus.
Here we go.
You approach the exit to find Polka standing there, as though he were waiting. He approaches you. "Can I tell you something?" he asks. He begins to recount the story of his parents. They too studied monsters. One day, when Polka was very young, monsters attacked his village, killing his parents. His mother raced to get him to safety. She told him to run and began shouting, "The monsters, there." That was when the flames took her. Polka tells you that he began studying monsters in the hopes of one day understanding what she was trying to say. He lowers his head and confesses that he needs your help in order to do so. You Subterrans have the power I need to solve this mystery. I know it. You search his face. He's being sincere. You nod. Polka is no longer just someone you met, or just some scholar. He's you, an orphan. You tell Polka you'll help him once he answers one question. Does he hate monsters? Hatred reduces the mind's capacity for serious inquiry, he notes, his smile exposing gritted teeth. So, he's suppressing his hatred of them beneath a veneer of reason and logic. That'll do. "Already leave?" comes another voice. Your chatter must have woken Trollis. "Her strength will serve us well. We should bring her with us," Polka adds, sensing your reluctance. "Serve well," Trollis parrots, sweeping you off your feet.
I'd like fan art of that.
Thus were your defenses eroded and your ranks bolstered. You depart the circus with your new companions.
Hmm. Pour a soda. Mm-mm-mm.
Dot, 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 dot. Somehow, your group finds themselves wandering in the desert yet again. You had no problem with letting Polka lead the way, but the sand skiff soon sailed headlong into quicksand and met with disaster. No use crying over spilt milk. Don't want to waste even a drop of moisture out here, after all, Polka quips, holding a water canteen over his mouth and tapping it. You say in a flat tone, I don't get it. For perhaps the first time ever in your acquaintance, Polka refuses to elaborate. Don't make me explain it. Despite the rest of the group wasting away under the heat and grappling with brutal thirst, Trollis seems to have maintained some vigor. Trollis's nose twitches as she sniffs at the air a bit. She picks up the scent of water to the north and heads off in that direction. The others are splayed out on the deck of the sand skiff, barely moving. Things may take a dark turn. A musty smell wafts from the rocky area beyond. Maybe there could be some water there. No sooner does the thought cross Trollis's mind than a monster attacks from the shadows. Get him! The rush of victory over the monster is short-lived, as there doesn't seem to be any muttering water. Trollis the beast does seem to have a great deal of, well, liquid. With a great squelchy squeeze, Trollis wrings the fluid out of the creature's body.
Princess. Bring. Ah.
Trollis returns to the sand skiff and helps everyone drink some of the slime juice. Each, in turn, regains. The juice is faintly sweet and tasty. Polka asks, "Where'd you come by this stuff?" However, Trollis's reply leaves something to be desired. Squeezed it. Everyone drank. Everyone better. Polka inclines his head, deep in thought.
I want to adopt
Fruit
this
is
little
rare
girl.
and hard to come by. The group decides to have Trollis lead them to where she located the sweet liquid.
Okay. Now. More damage. Or two.
The group arrives at the place where Trollus obtained the liquid. Did Trollus bring all of... As you mull your thoughts, Polka suddenly points. Look there. You take a closer look and see that there are cracks running through the rocks. They just might break open if hit with enough force. Legol grunts in affirmation and then starts hitting the rocks. Over and over again he pounds on them until blood oozes from his fist and flecks of it splatter the stones.
Ew.
With a cracking sound, the rocks break apart. You beyond the rocks, a barren waste. The party decides to press on through the arid expanse in hopes of finding a place to rest and eat.
Oh.
You've come across a river that is somehow fully ablaze. There won't be any drinking this water. Polka's curiosity is piqued. He shouts, "But water cannot burn. It defies scientific reason." Next to him, Trollus's nose twitches. She's evidently located something with her keen sense of smell. There might be The party opts to trust in Trollus's nose and heads off in the direction she indicates. You arrive in a city humming with life and bustle. There! Trollus practically falls over with excitement as she whips her hand out to point at the food stall. The stall is stacked high with fresh grilled meats, which are by all accounts the source of the smell she noticed. Black smoke billows from rows of chimneys, swirling up into the sky. It looks as though the whole city makes use of the flammable water. Polka cannot hold back his curiosity. "I must inquire as to this cumberant water," he says. In fact, he zips off quickly enough that you and the others lose sight of him. Shrugging your shoulders, you decide to head off in search of him. Heat, heat, heat. He who has the heat controls everything. Heat is everything. This city is hot enough as it is, but the man radiates fervor, making it all the hotter. You ask the man about Polka, and he replies in an encouraging tone. You'll find him. You will. It is essential that you never give up. The woman is lost in thought as she gazes at the flames from a distance. Love and fire are rather. You find her incomparable presence so overwhelming that you are unable to even ask about Polka.
Okay.
The young man is mumbling something. Listening carefully, you put the snatches of audible words together. It sounds as though he is unhappy about. Apparently, said aristocrat is monopolizing the tinder water supply and reaping mass. You ask the lad about Polka, and he answers quickly, he ran off toward the pet shop. The wise old woman offers cautionary words. You'd best be careful. The flame primal dwells in the lake of fire. You ask the woman about Polka, and she replies, why, he and I were speaking until just a short while ago. He's probably still nearby. You thank the woman and take your leave.
So,
You locate Polka in a state of considerable excitement as he observes. He notices you a moment later and starts chattering rapidly. This town is incredible. They use this combustible water as an energy source to make their living. And what's more, he goes on without taking a breath. It doesn't sound like his rambles are anywhere. Suddenly, the sound of children weeping reaches your ears. It sounds like it's coming from a back alley. In the back alleyway, two emaciated children stand alone, with naught but the clothes on their backs. They look to be siblings. Great tears stream down the boy's face. Between sobs, he explains that their mother and father both died of illness. Orphans. Not uncommon in big cities like this, Legol says. Something akin to a vice grips your heart, and you wonder if there is some way you can help them. You rummage around in your things for some food to give them. You also remember that you're starving too, and your stomach rumbles in displeasure. You hit upon an idea. Why not ask the aristocrat making huge profits from the tinder water for assistance? A well-dressed man of clear sophistication and means emerges from the manor, and he seems willing to listen to you. You bring up the plight of the city's orphans. The man listens to your story and then hangs his head. I would love to do something, truly I would. But you see, my own child, he explains that his son is bedridden. Stricken, the aristocrat's mind seems fully preoccupied with thoughts of his own child. At a loss, you look over at Polka. He catches your glance, and then offers to examine the aristocrat's child. Polka explains that he has some medical knowledge, and the man practically leaps on him, desperate enough to cling to. It looks as though Polka will be performing an impromptu medical exam. According to Polka, the aristocrat's child has been poisoned. The man's jaw falls open. That cannot be. My household employs silverware that reacts to poison in food. You suggest the possibility that there could be a venomous monster nearby. At this suggestion, the aristocrat blurts out, "The flame primal. It exudes a toxic gas." Polka explains that if the source of the poison was indeed somehow the flame primal, it might be possible to craft an antidote. And then, as though struck by an idea, he adds, and perhaps as a thank you for my doing so, we might discuss aid for the poor orphans of the city? Yes, of course. Seeing the aristocrat's immediate response, you can't help but be astonished by Polka's wisdom and negotiating skill. Upon leaving the manor, Polka explains, with no small amount of pride in his voice, "My own investigations indicate that it seems like his running about all over the city wasn't for nothing." The boy speaks, his words punctuated with sobs. "I'm so hungry."
Ooh, I wouldn't want you to get burnt.
Polka warns, "Don't breathe too deeply here. The very air could be noxious poison." You pick up a scrap of paper you spot by your feet. Against all odds, it hasn't burnt to ash. It appears to be part of a crudely drawn treasure map. A sketched treasure chest lies between a lake, white mountains, and rocky crags. A treasure map! Everyone shouts at you in unison. You slip the scrap of paper into your pack and make a mental note to keep an eye out for the location the doodle depicts. monsters bar the path. That said, it doesn't look like they've noticed you yet. They probably don't see many humans around here, given that the lake is surrounded by fire. They're completely taking care to be as quiet as possible. You steal close to the monsters and attack them. Monsters don't attack. In fact, they look like they're trying to find an opening to make a run for it. You survey the area for some way to cross over and spot an iron bridge collapsed into the... Someone in a time long past built a bridge here, though it has since collapsed from... Suddenly, an idea strikes you. Maybe I can use the steel primal's power to manipulate metal and make it so we can cross. You decide to summon forth the primal's power and repair the fallen bridge. Unfortunately, the pieces left to you are so mangled that no one would rightly identify them as parts of a bridge.
Alright. I hate this part.
You've joined these two bridge parts rather skillfully, if you do. I think there might be a better way of placing that. If we could just redo it, he mutters to himself. With the steel primal's help, the bridge you've built remains firmly in place. It actually looks quite sturdy. You should be able to use it to cross as many times as you like. As if crossing over a lake, you quickly survey your surroundings and see you call upon the steel primal once more and prepare to improvise another bridge.
Yes.
You've made it once again. But before you can celebrate, you're greeted by an expanse of tinder water. You summon the steel primal a third time and hope this is the last bridge you need built. But the pieces the primal hauls out of the tinder water don't look like they'll fit together. You look back at the bridges that brought you here. Alas, you've built them too well. They won't come loose from the rocks, so you'll have to make do. Trawless, seeing the worry on your face, chirps encouragingly. Search. We will find. Must be way. That piece doesn't connect, I'm afraid. Perhaps you should try another. Inside is impossibly a bridge part. You should be able to use this to get further across the tinder water. Trawless gazes intently at you. She's noted your mastery of the steel primal's power. She explains that ever since she was picked up by the circus at a young age, she's trained as a beast tamer. However, as she puts it, she has not managed to improve in the slightest. She asks you to give her some pointers on how to get monsters to obey, and you reply,
Bring it.
A massive monster wreathed in flames rises from the lake. It's shrouded in such heat and fury that you can scarcely turn your eyes to it. This is, in all likelihood, the Flame Primal. Your party readies their weapons and prepares for a fight. Slay this beast for the children!
Whatever Brad Jones ever done for me. Hey. Hey.
You can't tell if it has something to do with the primal, but poison is slowly coursing through you. You must end this battle quickly.
Hey.
You've managed to gain the advantage on your foe. You feel as if suffocated and fall upon one knee. Your poisoned body is screaming, raging in protest. The flame primal clearly isn't going to let this chance pass it up, and it begins amassing power. Barely thinking, you go right, attempting to dodge the primal's attack. But your foot catches on something, and you trip and fall to the ground. You shut your eyes, believing this might be the end of you. But the pain you brace yourself for doesn't come. You wonder what's happened, and open your eyes to see. Trollis, you scream. She turns to you and gives a pained smile. The acrid smell of burning meat assaults your nostrils, and Trollis cries out in anguish. Still, she desperately musters her strength and pushes back the flame primal. Trollis has given you and your friends a chance. You stand, and together you and your comrades attack the primal with all your strength. You've done it. You've beaten the flame primal and sealed it within a card.
That was a hell of a battle when I'm not overpowered as fuck.
The flames upon the lake begin to recede and then blink out entirely. Perhaps because you've beaten the flame primal? You see Trollis crouching on the ground and run over to her. "Are you all right?" you ask. She totters to her feet.
Having rather shrewdly managed to gather some of the flame primal's bodily fluids during the fight, Polka immediately sets about inspecting it to determine its composition.
To the great surprise of all, he does not detect any trace of poison in the fluid. Could something else be the cause? Polka collects some of the lake water in a bottle. He then busies himself dipping various papers and medicinal compounds into the bottle. At length, he makes a curious face. According to Polka, burning the water releases toxins that accumulate and can cause fatal harm to the human body. Your party decides to head back to the City of Flame and inform the aristocrat of your findings. With the flames of the lake extinguished, those of the pond in the center of the city have also gone out. The people seem frantic to reignite the tinder water once more. Polka's medicine succeeds in stabilizing the child's condition. However, he is quick to indicate that it is but a stopgap measure. Polka advises that, should they wish to prolong the life of the child and of all those in the city, they must stop using the tinder water. The aristocrat shakes his head and says, "That we cannot do." "It would benefit your child too," you assert. But he shakes his head again, unmoved. He explains that the tinder water is the basis of all life here in the city. The city would fall into decline if they were to stop using it, and most of the citizens would be set adrift, with no means of supporting themselves. I am in charge of this city, and I cannot stop our use of tinder water, even if it costs the life of my child. You ask the man if there is some way to resolve this impasse. He grimaces and makes a self-deprecating snort. Maybe if Nuterra existed, then all would be solved. You ask if Nuterra is some kind of place, and Polka nods. Polka explains, Nuterra is said to be a mysterious land abundant with all manner of resources. The aristocrat picks up the thread. Scholars claim it exists beyond the river, but none who go there ever return. With that, the man gives you a large amount of food and sends you away from the manor. You hand the food out to the... "How did you get this?" the boy asks. Hearing this, the boy blurts out, "I'm going to use the burning water to get rich too." The boy mentioned that his parents died due to illness. Likely they were stricken with the toxins from the tinder water, just like the aristocrat's child.
I did you shouldn't before. Oh.
You try to express support for the boy's dream, while conveying to him that the tinder water isn't good for him. The boy thanks you for the food and runs off with his sister. Polka has a difficult-to-read expression on his face. "Let's at least hand out the medicine," he suggests. You nod without uttering a word. "I'm gonna get rich," and you offer medicine to the children, but their faces drop. "This won't fill our tummies," they say with considerable... The lad is all smiles and mirth, claiming that if he were to invent a tool to start fires, he could make a killing. Despite his sunny attitude, though, he looks quite unwell. You give some medicine to the ambitious young man, and he is jubilant. "Yes, I can work even more now."
Get out of my head game. I have a feeling that is directly associated with me.
With a trembling hand, the knowledgeable old woman strikes a knife against stone, muttering, this'll... You offer some medicine to the old woman, but she puts up a hand and refuses it. I'm afraid I don't make a habit of taking medicines I've never seen before. The passionate woman is screaming herself hoarse, coughing and sputtering as she points in shock at the pond where the fire has gone out. The woman accepts the medicine from you. With a pained wink, she says, "Not that this medicine could cure love sickness." "The fire in my heart has gone out with all the rest," the man mutters before sinking to the ground, his arms hanging limp. You offer some medicine to the man, but he keeps repeating, "No, I'm good," as though in a delirium. It doesn't look like the people of the city are going to stop using tinder water anytime soon. The medicine you shared with them may provide little more than brief peace of mind. I can't believe they won't give it up. They know it's poisonous, you say in a low, pained voice. Legol, you look up at him and ask, "Do you think everyone could be happy if we went to New Terra?" His denial is immediate and assured. You answer him in a small voice. Polka looks positively delighted. "Why, yes. Now that calls to my scholarly soul." Trollis seems equally on board. "I go too," in the face of your united enthusiasm for the idea. Legol grunts, "Fine, if you insist. You and your friends have made up your minds. You shall seek New Terra and whatever hope it offers, believing it exists just like the stars in the sky." The city has done nothing about the poison, and likely never will. Now that you've left, it would be safest if you never return.
He
Your group surveys the land beyond the river that the aristocrats spoke of. He claimed that none who go there ever return, yet you've little choice but to brave what lies beyond. A great river of tinder water stretches out before you. While the liquid no longer burns, it would still be dangerous to attempt swimming. You start to hesitate, thinking that there is no crossing, when Polka shouts, "Da-na-na-na!" He is carrying an iron board. Apparently, just as before, you and your allies decide to build a bridge across the river.
be?
Your group crosses the river, and as you celebrate, you take notice of the tough rock. Your sand skiff was made for moving over the sands, so it'll be difficult to go any farther aboard it. You propose remodeling the sand skiff, and Polka, Legol's face is uneasy as he mutters, "Don't do anything weird to it." Polka explains that 3 materials will be
Why do you
needed
hate
to
fun,
convert the sand
9S?
skiff.
Why won't you let us have fun, 9S?
After some quick preparations, you decide to split up to locate what you need. Sometimes a different perspective can be.
Let's go.
Polka asks Trollis to find some durable cord, despite feeling a little sluggish. Trollis takes off to the south, eager to help the group. Trollis wanders the area, searching for some durable cord or rope, but turns up nothing. Trollis rummages through her possessions, looking for some durable cord. Inside, she finds a whip from her apprentice. She must have brought it along by mistake. It once belonged to the... Looking over the whip brings back memories. Trollis spends some time reminiscing as she gazes at the whip, but then realizes not cord, she says, tossing it away. Realizing that a whip could work in place of a cord, Trollis decides to return to the sand skiff. Polka asks Legol to find something that Legol is skeptical that something like that will just be lying around, but he sets off to look nonetheless. Legol recalls that there was a cart in the mine near Steelborough. Though hesitant to return to such a dangerous place, he can't make excuses. He decides to take the sand skiff alone back to the mine. There is indeed a cart in the mine. Legol attempts to remove the wheels from, but suddenly, a monster emerges from behind it. With the monster defeated, the slain monster's eyes are wide open. Legol gently closes the monster's eyes. Having done what he set out to do, Legol decides to head back to the sand skiff.
Okay. And we're back.
Polka asks you to locate a Trollis dashes off to the south, so you decide to head north so that you all can cover more ground. Perhaps because you're by yourself for the first time, your thoughts drift inexorably to your comrades. Your thoughts turn to her awkward way of speaking somehow only accentuates her sweetness. On top of that, she cares deeply about her companions, and back when you faced the flame primal, she pushed herself so hard to save you from certain death. You can't help but be a little your thoughts turn to Legol. Legol can be somewhat brusque, but deep down he's a supportive person. He seems to care for Polka and Trollis too. From time to time, though, you spot a lonely, sad look on his face, perhaps due to his difficult past being treated like human livestock.
Killbot.
Your thoughts turn to Polka's breadth of knowledge has been an incredible boon, and also a headache, since said knowledge, while he's typically an affable fellow, you do sometimes spot your crew of friends has grown little by little. But with them at your while you were lost in thought, a monster has found you. You decide to summon up all your courage. The monster brandishes a weapon whose handle is a long, sturdy-looking pole, the exact kind Polka needs. Battle time. Your battle with the monster, having done what you set out to do, you decide to head back to the Sandskiff. With what Polka requested in hand, you beat feet to meet back up with the others. The group meets back up. You've brought the sturdy pole. Are you sure I can use your whip? Polka asks. Trollis turns her bag upside down, and as advertised, a number of whips tumble. Doesn't your ringmaster need a bit of pep in his step? Polka starts zipping around the Sandskiff, making modifications. The modifications to the Sandskiff are finished. The group is thrilled. Trollis collapses. Polka hurries over to examine her. Somehow, she's suffering the effects of Tinder. Beyond holding her close and squeezing her hand, there is little else you can do for Trollis. The battle with the flame primal flashes through your mind.
Oh, the music.
During the struggle, Trollis threw herself in harm's way to protect you from the primals. The poison must have entered her body through the wound she sustained in the process. Despite downing some of Polka's medicine, Trollis remains languid. It seems that she needs a sanitary place to rest, Polka says, and the group decides to try to find one.
This one. Yeah, I might. When I make it to this village, but oh boy. Yeah. Trigger warning for those. Ooh. Oh,
A man, breathless and plump, suddenly jumps out in front of your group as you search for a place where recognition dawns in you. And you're sure this is the ringmaster of the circus. Trollis rises unsteadily from the deck of the sandskiff, tilts her head to the man, looks at Trollis for a moment, then breaks into a delighted smile. Oh ho! You're one of my brothers from the circus. As he explains it, this man is the younger brother. He works as a merchant who travels the world buying and selling all. And to that end, he wastes not a moment in trying to strike up some business. You briefly explain Trollis's condition, and why didn't you say so sooner? I've got some. The merchant shares that he has heard of a village to the west. He's said to be a rather crabby fellow, but with any luck, you say a few words of thanks. The man calls after you. I'll be here with my compatriots for a while, so do pop by later. You locate a small village. This is probably the place the merchant mentioned. Monsters suddenly appear. You can't let them attack the town, for Trollis' sake too. You take off running to stop the monsters. Battle time. Unbeknownst to any, you manage to avert the danger. Now Trollis needs help. Hurry into the village. You and Legol enter the village, leaving Polka caring for Trollis on the sandskiff. No sooner do you enter the village than a man's voice calls out to you. The villager wears a curious headpiece, but seems polite, and you get directly to the point. Ah, that would be me, he says, before offering to mix up some medicine if you're in a hurry. You explain Trollis' symptoms, and the man calling himself an apothecary smiles and says he can. Afraid of the answer, you ask what it will cost. The man calling himself the apothecary hardly seems crabby at all. So you check again with him that he answers that coming to this village changed him, made him realize that people need to live by helping each other. The apothecary suggests you take a wander about. He adds, the folks about town are kind souls. Legol says that he'll get Trollis and returns to the sandskiff. You decide to walk around the village and find what you'll need to care for your friend. The boy looks at you and says, "This would look nice on you, miss," and hands you a crown made of gold. You try to pay for it, but the boy counters with a smile. "I gave it to you because I wanted to." That was nice. After hearing your tale, the proprietor of the inn beams at you and says, "Don't worry your head over payment. Stop in and make use of one of our rooms. You offer a word of thanks and feel a weight lift off your chest. Now Trollis will be able to rest somewhere. After hearing your tale, the woman hands you her food. Make sure you all eat up and and if there isn't enough, you just let me know and I'll make more. Ha ha. She finishes with a hearty laugh. The old man says, no person is an island. That's why we need to join hands and help one another. The apothecary comes running you take it from him, and then try to head back, wondering what could have happened. You hurry over.
Yeah, cue the
A crowd
racism.
of villagers has thronged the entrance to town. Their earlier kindness seemingly an implausible memory. You realize that the villagers they seem somehow furious at her. Even the apothecary, who only just handed you medicine for her, has an expression of utter rage on his face. You attempt to intervene and protect Trollis, but the villagers continue to bellow. Suddenly, you hear a serene voice call out over the crowd. At the sound of it, the people fall incredibly quiet. A mysterious girl, young in years. I beg your forgiveness for the way you have been treated, but if you require a place for your sick friend to rest, please come to the Shrine of Light, she finishes, before leading the way.
Chapter.
As soon as you arrive at the shrine in which the girl lives, you put Trollis in a bed to rest. You're relieved that you've managed things for the time being. When you speak with the girl, she says, you haven't told the girl anything, so how? I know more than that. She goes, the monster attack on your village. Legol's, what's your deal? Legol says, unnerved. She explains that due to her power, the people revere her as a religious guru. You've never heard that word before. And so you ask, guru? You ask if a guru is some kind of teacher, and Legol nods. Yeah, I think you could say they're a sort of
Last
teacher.
time.
Polka adds, a guru is the founder of an ideological group. In any event, the guru is clearly important to the village. You decide to ask her about the place. You ask why the once kind villagers became so angry. This remote village has, she explains, been the victim of many monster attacks over the years. That hatred eventually took root in the village as a kind of religious doctrine. Thus their behavior when they saw Trollis. You ask why the villagers were so kind at first. The village, she explains, and she goes on to explain that the foundational principle of the light faith is to be kind to people. Thus, and so there have been two absolute doctrines in this village. Be kind to people and kill monsters. She gazes at the room where Trollis is sleeping and asks, your friend is a monster, yes? You state in no uncertain terms that Trollis is not a monster. However, you cannot deny that you had a vague suspicion of her true identity. The guru amends her words. Forgive me. Perhaps that expression wasn't quite appropriate, since she is also human. She is half human and half monster. What are your thoughts on that? She asks. It's true that monster blood may flow in Trollus's veins. Monsters, things to be hated. But as you've traveled, seeing you falter, the Guru offers another apology. Many of them lost family to monster attacks and are seized with hatred. I ask you to forgive them, she continues, her voice tinged with, right. Your group wished stunning that your powers could even tell you that. So she explains that there is a stone tablet in the ruins of a religious edifice to the northeast of town. Said tablet has the way to New Terra recorded. However, you should know, monsters. There's information on New Terra to be had, though. So you decide to go anyway, despite the danger. Trollus is sleeping soundly. She seems annoyed, but when you inform her that you're headed to the ruins, she quickly turns her attitude around and bows her head. The ruins were evidently a sacred site for this village, one where marriages, funerals, prayers for bountiful harvests, and other important rites were carried out, and the tablet was used in those ceremonies. You accept the woman's request, explaining that you were planning from the start to retrieve. You've no sooner gotten your response out than Trollus's eyes fly open, and she bursts while she is a little unsteady yet. The apothecary, you try to convince her to rest a little longer. At length, her persistence wins out, and you begrudgingly agree to take her along and head for the ruins.
I got time closing up this chapter.
This place feels eerily familiar. You knew it. You feel around on the ground for a moment. You claw at the earth with reckless abandon. Success. Buried treasure. Ecstatic, you fling open the lid and stash its contents in your bag. A great statue stands before you, large enough that you have to crane your neck to look up at it. You wonder how much historical value such a thing might have.
It was a good grinding spot, I remember. Oh, hated this one.
You look at Trollis and ask. She gives a vivacious bounce, assuring you that she's as fine as she looks and that you don't have to worry. Perhaps she then realizes what you actually mean. So she reminds you that she has the circus troupe who accepted her without discrimination. And on top of that, she has kind friends who worry about her and do their best to nurse her back to health when she falls ill. So of course she's all right. Your group reaches an antechamber with 3 arrows inscribed on the floor. Further inside, you can see a statue and what appears to be some kind of pedestal. To the right is a door, and by the looks of it, your only way onward. The floor sinks slightly when you step on the arrow. And then, why, the statue moved. Apparently, it moves in the same direction as whichever arrow is stepped on.
Over. Huh? Oh.
There's a wall in that direction, so the statue can't move there. You withdraw the foot, the floor is already recessed, and stepping on it again has no apparent effect. You'll have to step on a different arrow.
Oh, that's 5 minutes of my life I'm never getting back.
The statue slides on top of the pedestal, and in that instant, with a groan, relieved that you can finally move on, you decide to head through the door. Monsters block the way. You attack them at once, determined to make your way deeper into the ruins. Battle time.
Oh, I forgot to put that new Oh yeah. But I said I was gonna put it on and I didn't. Let's see.
The monsters make no move to attack you, and instead seem to be focused on quiet prayer.
Eh. I already have one.
You emerge into a wide open space with an array of stone tablets. Your excitement, you glance down at your feet, and the scrap has a note written on it. To proceed, a line. Well, that's simple, Ligol says. He approaches the tablets, but then
The match game.
the tablets change position entirely on their own.
Okay.
You flipped a try picking another one.
Another time for this. Oh, no, that's not you.
You've managed to match 2 stone tablets. Keep it up.
Nope. So slow. No, just Looney, what are you doing? Oh. Looney, honey. Oh, my brain is fried and the week is not over yet.
You've successfully flipped all of the tablets. And now,
With a groan, the door, feeling a bit mentally fatigued, you decide to head through the door with your friends.
No. My card stroke. God damn it. Ugh. Yeah. Oh.
A massive statue stands vigil here, looking almost as though it is taking the measure of those who pass through. You've discovered the stone tablet that has information about you. Rush over to the tablet, but suddenly,
Monsters.
you guessed it, a monster appears and attacks.
It, air damage. Oh, it's weak to fire. Best. Ooh, that's good. What is this? Yep. So. Hey.
A masterful
Get this chapter over with and then have some lunch.
There appears to be some writing on the stone tablet. You ask Polka to decipher it, but the four of you decide to ask the guru about the tablet. You decide to exit the ruined edifice immediately.
Good, because I was dreading that place.
You look at Trollis and say, "You don't." She assures you that it's fine and comes along, and as you make your way into town, before you can say anything, the man blurts out an apology to Trollis. The sudden contrition is a surprise, and not just to you. Legol and Polka are clearly taken aback too. The guru must have explained things. Everyone in the village has accepted Trollis by the sound of it. The guru accepts the tablet and runs a loving hand over it. This little piece of stone is an integral part of our town's rituals. One might go so far as to call it the soul of the village. You find it all a little bit unsettling. Hoping to move the conversation, the guru gives a deep bow of the head at your question. You're stunned at the news. She lied to you in order to get you to retrieve the tablet. Your shoulders droop, and you struggle to get the words out. So, Nuterra is... But the guru replies in a solemn voice, "You do not need to worry. Nuterra does exist, and I know the way there. It is found to the north, beyond a massive cliff that towers over the land, called the End Wall." She goes on to explain that to get there, you must travel through the cave to the north. With that, she offers a final... There's something desolate in her expression.
Get the fuck out of Dodge.
The moment you leave the shrine, you sense that something is amiss. The village is suffocatingly quiet. Polka lets out a little scream and points at a villager collapsed on the ground. The old man has breathed his last. "Stay alert," Legol whispers so that only the group can hear. The old man is dead, his gentle face frozen. The boy is dead, surrounded by artificial flowers. The woman is dead, but the hand on her full stomach suggests her end was met in satiety. Though it looks like she is just sleeping, the proprietor is dead. A bottle of medicine has tumbled over next to the corpse of the apothecary. Having examined several of the bodies, Pulka reports you remember the desolate expression on the guru's face, and you realize you need to rush back to the Shrine of Light.
Yep.
Legol rears up and breaks the door open with a mighty kick. The guru is collapsed, bleeding on the ground. You run over to her and try to help her sit up. Her eyes flutter open, and she looks over your group. They have all passed without incident then, she says with a feeble smile.
Music, why do you slap so hard and be emotional?
You take one of her limply hanging hands and ask, why? She said as much. They have a creed here in the village, and that creed, be kind to people and kill monsters. And
For those who break the creed.
this village's hatred for monsters runs deep, having taken root long. Those feelings cannot be changed, nor can the creed.
The guru produces the stone tablet from the ruins. So long as we have this, our souls shall be guided to their rest.
Trollis bursts into tears and says that this was all her fault. No, says the guru softly. It was mine. She was prepared for this and invited you in with full understanding. Despite all of that, she still wished to get the stone tablet back from the monster. They were all tired. The many years of being caught up between their hatred and their creed had made the villagers and the guru alike exhausted with life. With one last word of thanks, the guru gently breathes her last breath. Thus did the monster-loathing village pass to dust.
Okay.
A visceral demonstration of what happens when you mix faith with hate.
I ain't touching that one. Yeah, I knew this was coming, but it doesn't make the hurt go away. Well,
You and your companions dig. You feel it's only right to give that one grave complete. You let out a long sigh. You wonder how the others are faring.
but I will find out next time. Let's... Yep. Alright. Take you off. And that's it for me. So, Yep, I'm gonna go eat lunch now. Goodbye.